Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We'll be going over the combat achievements for the Moons in Peril, as well as how to complete them. This is something I'm looking to do for all the combat achievements in the game at some point in time. So I figured we start off with the newest pieces of content. So there's only 12 combat achievements that came out for the Perilous Moons. The first 3 are the easiest. They are merely about getting KC. So Perilous Novice, open the Lunar chest 5 times. Perilous Champion, get it 25 times. These two you just get naturally from just completing the content. Lunar Triplet, open the reward chest after defeating all 3 moons. Again, this is just something you get all along the way just from completing the content. You just have to make sure you actually kill all 3 of the bosses first before opening the Lunar chest at the very end. If you're a mid-level account, this should be pretty easy. The only accounts where this might be an issue is more on the lower end of the mid-level accounts, where maybe in particular the Blood Moon might give you a bit of trouble. Blood Moon is by far the hardest boss of the 3 to combat, and that's just simply because you have to have a certain amount of DPS in order to actually kill the boss, because the boss does heal itself quite a lot. And not only a certain amount of DPS, but you need a certain amount of defense too, because the more damage that the Blood Moon boss deals to you, the more it heals itself. So you need good defense, but you also need enough DPS to actually kill it through any healing it happens to provide itself. So as long as you're able to do that, killing all 3 bosses should be fine, and you can get this combat achievement. Okay, so next up, we'll be going over the mechanical combat achievements. The first one being the Clone Zone. Defeat the Eclipse Moon by only attacking its clones. This one's honestly pretty fun. It's pretty cool. It's not very hard. The Eclipse is arguably the easiest boss of the 3 moon bosses. All you gotta do is literally just stand in the circles and take as little damage as possible, and you're just waiting. You're literally just waiting for the clone attack to come. That is the only time where you can actually attack him. If you haven't fought this boss before, all you got to do for the clone attack is just face his direction from wherever he spawns, and your character will automatically counterattack and deal damage to it. I would highly recommend bringing any weapon that you own that has the most amount of melee strength. During the clone special attack, all weapons have the exact same attack speed, which means that usually slower, harder hitting weapons are usually the better ones you want to bring for this. In this clip, for example, I brought an Elder Maul, which is probably one of the slowest and also the most hard hitting weapon in the game. And it just absolutely destroys him during this phase. You can see in this clip, I'm from full health. I'm almost completely killing him just during his special phase, during his clone phase with an Elder Maul. It's disgusting. So just bring the hardest hitting weapon you have. It doesn't matter what its attack speed is. Just bring a weapon with the most amount of strength, melee strength bonus that you have. Next up, we have High Hitter. Defeat a moon before they start their second special attack. This one is pretty easy. It primarily just comes down to, do you have enough DPS to kill them before their second special attack? That's pretty much it. Among the 3 moons, the one I would probably recommend doing this one on is going to be the Eclipse Moon, simply because of the fact that you can deal the majority of your damage during the clone special attack. So the next set of combat achievements are going to be the restriction ones. We got Back to Our Roots. Defeat all 3 moons in one run using only a Dragon Scimitar. This is straightforward. Just bring a Dragon Scimitar and just kill all of them with only the Dragon Scimitar. The only thing you would need to be aware of is that if you normally use any special attack weapons during your runs, you cannot use those while doing this combat achievement. Next up, we have Fortified. Defeat a moon without consuming any supplies. This one, again, also pretty straightforward. This one mainly just comes down to how good your defense is. So how high is your defense level, as well as how good is your armor, essentially. Better melee armor as well as higher defense levels will make it so that you take less damage overall, which makes it so that you don't have to consume anything over the course of the fight. As long as you have good defense levels and good melee gear, you should be fine. The easiest moon to do this one on would also be the Eclipse. This is mainly because of the fact that if you do the cloning special attack correctly, you'll take no damage. And you'll also do the majority of your damage during the clone special attack. And if you do the black ball special attack correctly, you shouldn't really take any damage from that either. So the only damage you really have to be wary of is his basic attacks. Next up, we have Betrayal. Defeat a moon while wearing a full set of its associated armor set. For each of the 3 moons, they have their own respective sets. There's the Blood Moon set, the Blue Moon set, and the Eclipse Moon set. All you gotta do is whichever boss you decide to fight, just wear the respective gear while fighting them. So in my case, I brought the Blood Moon set, so I had to fight the Blood Moon while wearing the Blood Moon set to get the combat achievement. Next up, we have Fat of the Land. This is a stamina-based combat achievement. It says defeat 30 moons of peril without leaving a dungeon. This basically just means just get 10 KC in. As long as you're killing all 3 bosses during each run, you just need about 10 KC in. And especially considering that the dungeon gives you all of the supplies that you need for free, this is pretty easy to get. Okay, so for the Moons of Peril Speed Trialist and Speed Chaser, you want to be able to complete all 3 bosses within 8 and 6 minutes respectively. I was initially very worried about this one. I thought maybe I would actually have to try hard on this one, simply because speedrun combat achievements are like the bane of my existence, and they're always probably the most annoying of all the combat achievements. But this one was actually pretty easy. I actually got both of these by accident while doing the Back to Our Roots combat achievement. So the using only the Dragon Scimitar achievement.
Combat task complete.
Hey, we got it. Speed Trialist, what? Winds of Peril, Speed Chip, what? How did I get both? As long as you just have high enough stats and decent gear. Like, I know I'm using Torva here in this clip, but you don't, like, I feel like you should be able to do just fine if you have the Blood Moon set or even Bandos, and you should be able to get through this pretty quickly. The only thing that I would say would probably hold you back the most from completing this would be your combat levels, and that is it. As long as you have high enough combat levels and your herb lore is high enough for the Moonlight Potion to give you high enough combat boosts, you should be able to clear these pretty easily without much hassle. If you find that maybe you're struggling to reach the 6 minute mark, the 8 or 6 minute mark, I would probably consider bringing in some special attack weapons. Some ones in particular that can help out would be the Crystal Halberd. This one you can use pretty much all 3 of the bosses, and in particular is really good against a Blood Moon boss. Maybe a DDS, Voidwaker, Dragon Claws in particular are also really good. What also helps during the speed runs would be to bring Thralls. Thralls help out quite a bit because they can still damage the boss during some of the special attacks. As well as you have access to Death Charge, so every time you kill a boss, you can get back some of your special attack energy, so you can still spec during the next boss. Other than that, bring Thralls and some special attack weapons, and you should be fine. You should be able to easily complete these. Last but not least, Perilous Dancer. This is probably going to be the hardest one to complete out of all the combat achievements. Defeat all the moons in one run while only taking damage from regular attacks. This one's honestly not that bad. The only thing I would recommend is, obviously, during the special attacks, you have to actually execute the mechanics properly so you don't take any damage from them. There's going to be 2 things that probably messes you up the most from getting this combat achievement. The first one being the Blue Moon boss. That one, during the Blizzard special attack with all the tornadoes and stuff, getting hit accidentally by that is going to mess you up. One thing you can do to kind of circumvent this is that normally you would want to light the braziers in order to prevent the Blue Moon from healing itself. What I would recommend is that if your DPS is already high enough where that's not an issue, just ignore lighting the braziers. Don't even bother lighting them. Just stand in the middle, let her heal up, so you can guarantee you don't take any damage from the tornadoes, and then you can just kill the boss normally. You might have to spend a little bit extra time killing the boss to do this, but as long as you get the combat achievement, that's all that really matters. The second thing you might have to worry about is just make sure that you're standing on top of the glowing circle at all times. If you get hit while you're not on the circle, that will fail the combat achievement, even though they're not using one of the standard special attacks. That doesn't really make much sense to me, but it's not my decision. The easiest way to go about this is just every time they do 2 basic attacks, immediately go over to the next circle, because every 2 basic attacks, the circle will change. That is it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe or leave a comment. Commenting helps better than likes. Likes don't do anything. As well as, if there is any piece of content, maybe a boss, combat achievements, or whatever, that in particular that you would like me to make a video about, go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below. I also have a Discord if you want to be able to just ask me personally, or maybe get some advice from everybody else in the Discord. Other than that though, hope you guys enjoyed the video. My name is Brian, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.